How's it going today, guys? I'm just sitting around today, so I thought I'd do a little owner's review of my 2017 XR 650L and just share with you some of the mods that I've done and some of my opinions on it. And they are just my opinions, so what works for me may not work for you. But some of the things I've done on this bike is, first things first, if you are looking to get one of these bikes, in my opinion, you've got to rejet this thing quickly. They're so lean from the factory, and with an air-cooled bike, you can have problems. Trust me, I know from experience. There's a couple ways to do it. I went the route of the FMF power-up kit. It was basically a jet kit. I took the carb out, put the different jets in, and it was real simple to do. The carb's just right there, and it's not hard to get out. You got to take the tank off, and other than that, it's no big deal. And so I rejetted this. It's running a little bit rich now. I like them running rich. I'd rather replace spark plugs and head gaskets. So I did that, and when you do that, you're probably going to want to throw on a different air filter. Kind of maybe see inside there. I put a foam uni filter in there, and I also opened up the air box. If you take this off and take the seat off, and you pull the top off the air box, it'll get you some more air sucked into there. The more air you can get in there, the richer, the more fuel you can give it. You're going to get a lot more power, and it's going to be night and day over stock. I would recommend doing that first. Second thing I would recommend doing, especially if you're going to ride this off-road, is change the damn gearing. The gearing on this stock, you've got a 15-tooth sprocket up front and a 45 on the back. And I changed to a 14 and 48, and it is night and day. Totally different bike. So much more fun. And off-road, it's no comparison. You will suffer on the highway, though. This bike's pretty happy at 65. I wouldn't run it past that for very long, though. It'll go faster than that, but I wouldn't do it for any long period of time. Stock, you can run them 70, 75 miles an hour down the highway all day, but they suck off-road. And that first gear, second gear, off-road, it's so long and far apart, and didn't work for me. I had a lot better luck with it once I changed the gearing. Another thing, obviously, everybody says about these bikes is the fuel tank. So the stock fuel tank on these, if you know anything about these bikes, is ridiculously small. I couldn't get 100 miles out of it. And living in Wyoming, sometimes you got to go more than 100 miles between gas stations. So I got this Clark tank, and it's 4.7 gallons or something. I think the stock tank is 2.8, and I think this one looks better anyway. That's just my opinion. I didn't really like the stock one with them goofy little scoops on them, but I think I've gotten to 175 miles out of this tank before I have to hit the reserve. I've never run it flat empty, but I'm thinking I could dang near go 200 miles on a tank. I don't know. Depends on how you ride it. I tend to really rip on this thing, so I don't get great fuel economy, but it does get decent fuel economy if you want it to. Let's see, what else? Oh, and with the Clark tanks, I've heard a lot of people complain about the company. Like, oh, don't get a Clark tank. If you call the company, the woman's hard to deal with. I don't know anything about that. I got on their website. I found the tank. It was a hell of a deal. I clicked order. I had it in 2 weeks. It works. And you don't have to relocate the turn signals if you use this tank. That's full lock right there. I know there's another tank everybody likes to run. I don't remember who makes it. And it's over 6 gallons. That one you need to relocate your turn signals because it'll bump into it. And I didn't feel like dealing with that. So this tank has worked perfect for me. This rack too. This actually I bought this bike used with like 300 miles on it. The rack was already on there, so I didn't have to purchase that, but I am so glad that that's there. I've used that quite a few times. I've done some motorcycle camping trips on this bike, and actually done some pretty long highway trips on this bike before I changed the gearing. I do not recommend riding one of these 900 miles in 2 days. You won't be able to walk when you get back. Another thing, this is actually one of the more recent mods I did, and looking back on it, it would have been nice to do this right when I did the jetting, is pull that damn stock exhaust off. That thing is, sounds like a sewing machine, and it's heavy. This is a Lex slip-on, and I got it from Rocky Mountain ATV. I actually got a lot of parts for this bike from Rocky Mountain ATV. They carry a lot of goodies for the XR, and they're out of Utah. I'm in Wyoming, so I get stuff shipped here in 2 days. It's quick. But this pipe was I paid just under $300 for this, so it was a lot cheaper than the FMF pipe or the Big Gun or whatever other pipe everybody puts on these. I've been pretty happy with this, and I guess it's got a silencer that you can pull out, and it's got a couple different, you can pull the silencer out and it'll be louder. It does have a spark arrestor, so you can ride in the woods with it. You do have to repack this though. I have not repacked it yet because I've only had it for about a month, but that, you have to do that with the cheaper ones. It's whatever. Working on your bike's good for you. If you don't work on your own bike, you don't get the full experience. So yeah, check that out. I'd fire it up for you, but I don't know if it'll start. It's about 15 degrees out here in my garage, and this thing is another thing with these bikes, especially once you jet them up a little bit richer. These are hard starting sons of bitches in the winter. So I will do a separate video on the exhaust sound for that if anybody's interested, because I don't think I've seen a video on YouTube of this exhaust. Let's see what else. Oh, stock tires that come on this bike. Do not think you can go anywhere off-road with them. You won't get far. This is a Kenda 270. Pretty good little dual sport tire. They're cheap. This tire was like $40. It's a lot better than the stock one. So if you're gonna go off-road, that might be a good one to look at, Kenda 270. Of course, there's a million other options. That's just one that I happen to try. I happen to like it more than stock. There's probably way better options. That's just the one I have, and it's not bad. Let's see what else. This is still the stock tire on the front. I don't really care as much about the front tire. Once you get real good with these bikes, it's hardly ever on the ground. The other thing I did is I put a different headlight on this thing. The stock headlight, I thought, was kind of, if you're gonna ride at night. This is a LED headlight. Turn it on. It's pretty dang bright. And I got that from Rocky Mountain ATV. I don't remember what brand it is, but it's literally plug and play. It took 10 minutes to put it in. You literally plug it in. I mean, that's it. You take these bolts out and you plug the new light in, and it just works. So bar risers, another thing you're going to want to do. These handlebars are right down in your lap for some reason, and this is the weirdest thing to ride standing up when it's bone stock. Even with these are, what are those, 2 inches? I don't even remember. That helped a lot, but it's still weird. It's also weird because these itty bitty stupid little foot pegs. This is my next little mod I want to do. I want to get some bigger foot pegs for this, and I want to get some bark busters for it, because I have dumped this thing quite a few times, and I've broken clutch levers and bent stuff, and it's stupid. I should just put the bark busters on. So that's on the list. And I think a windshield is on the list too, because I do ride this on the road quite a bit out here, from place to place, and it's always windy, and the speed limit's 70 out here, so you're always booking right along. The only thing I would say if you're considering this bike, if you're much under 6 foot, this is just my opinion, you probably want to know what you're doing. If you're the type of guy that, you know, has only ridden cruisers, and when you come to a stop, you put both feet down and you do that waddle and stuff, that's not going to work on this bike. I'm 5'11", and I can just barely flat foot this thing. So get used to making stops and just putting your 1 foot down. And just know that off-road, if you get into some hairy terrain, you got to slow down, do something technical. Yeah, and then you decide to put your feet down and there's nowhere to put them, you're going to dump this thing over. I've dumped this thing over probably 5 times. Very top heavy bike, and it's tall. I mean, the seat height is 37 inches. You know, night and day from my Bonneville. And but this bike is so much fun. It's so torquey. You know, grab the throttle in first, and the front wheel come right up in the air, and slip the clutch in second, and it'll come right up in the air. It's not an XR 650R. You cannot power wheelie in 5th gear on this bike. It will never be an XR 650R, unfortunately. But these are a really, really cool all-around dual sport bike, and I've ridden the crap out of it, and I like it. So I just thought that I would do this little video. Maybe it helped somebody out if they're considering buying one. Maybe not, but hey, I tried. And like I said, I'll try to get a video here of this thing, the exhaust sound. You know, it's a 650 single cylinder. It's never going to sound like a V-twin, but I like that muffler. It's not bad. And then one of these days here, I'll do a review on my Bonneville. That's my baby. I love that bike, but today I figured I'd focus on this one. But anyway, that's my 2017 XR 650L, and thanks for watching.